Evening and welcome to Loose Sisters. I'm your host, Alvina Ali, and I will be joined by my panel made up of two sisters and one brother as well, where we'll be talking about all things news, views, gossip, and putting prominent people from Wolves into the spotlight as well. Now, on today's show, we will be discussing controlling or coercive behaviour. Now, as you know, Ryan Giggs was charged with assault and coercive control of his ex-girlfriend, Katie Graville. And also we'll be talking about should you ever keep an illness as a secret as well. And then at about 7 o'clock, we've got a phone call in from Hannah Williams, who is a wellbeing coach from Aspiring Futures, who will be talking about her role and services, and also about being an ambassador for the COVID-19 vaccination. And then we've got our normal segment of In Other News as well. Now, if you would like to take part in any of the discussions, please feel free to ring in on 01902 972 150 or text in on 07440 420 432. So, settle back and settle in for more of Loose Sisters. Now, joining me on the panel, I have, like I said, two loose sisters and one loose brother. And loose sisters and brothers, please introduce yourselves and tell us a bit about yourselves as well. Shall we start on my right with loose brother, Dr. Amar?
Thank you very much, Sister Alvina. I'm so privileged today to be in the middle of three sisters. Sister Zainab and Rosalina. Rosalina, yeah.
Rosina.
Rosina, without an L, yeah. My name is Ammar Mustafa. I work as a heart surgeon just next to you here at the Heart and Lung Center at New Cross Hospital. I've been living in Wolverhampton for quite a long time, maybe since the start of the Heart and Lung Center back in 2005.
Okay.
I had a short break of a few years in the Middle East, just overseas for training, and then I came back to join my same department at New Cross Hospital.
Okay.
I've been interested in a lot of community activities, and a fan of the the mosaic of the social fabric of Wolverhampton, which obviously has got all the different colors of the rainbow, of the ethnic backgrounds, and we are making, I think, the utmost of the diversity by making these different community activities.
Right, okay. Loose sister.
Hi, assalamu alaikum everybody. I'm Rosina and I'm from Wolverhampton, born and bred. I've got a big feet to follow here. I got a beautiful daughter, Safa, who's 13 and married. And I'm a lady of leisure.
Beautiful.
That's
Nice.
good to hear.
That's very nice.
Okay, that's good to hear. Okay, my name is Zainab, Zainab B, and I am a offender manager stroke probation officer, and I work for Staffordshire and West Midlands probation. Some of you might know me from last year when I was doing the Careers, Culture and Cuisine show
Yes.
with Fawzia Asif. In terms of my role, I mean, I'm born and bred in Wolverhampton as well. I've been working with the probation service since 2004. So I've had a lot of experience of working with perpetrators of violence. I manage offenders on community orders as well as those released on license. I also assist the courts in preparing pre-sentence reports to determine what type of sentence they're going to get.
Okay.
And we run women programs as well. Mainly around domestic violence and drug rehabilitation, and we have many other programs around drug use and so on.
All right. Okay.
If Alvina doesn't mind me intervening, what's the background? Is it like a nursing background, or is it an admin, more like an admin job?
No.
Sorry, Alvina.
No,
I'm
no,
not
it's
gonna be
okay.
asking
You
any more
can take
questions.
over the show. You can take over the show.
No, I got very much interested in your
No,
job.
it's more of a professional role.
Professional role,
Yeah, it's a
okay.
management position.
Admin role.
And I'm kind of like advising the courts. I'm a bit like an advisor to the
That's very
judge.
interesting.
And
yeah.
I give advice to the prisons and the social services,
Perfect.
the police. So we kind of, I'm almost like a risk manager.
Liaison.
So
Okay.
what I do is I make an assessment of an individual to see whether how high risk they are to the community
You
and
must
how,
be
how
very,
they
very brave. Very nice.
how they can be managed, how they can be managed safely in the community, and how we look after the victims of offences, how we look after the general public. So in a way, my role is quite intense, and it's like, you know, you take a lot of responsibility. But I mean, it's also rewarding because you feel that you're keeping the community safe.
Of course.
So it is very varied. I mean, I could talk about my role, you know,
I'm
for
so-
the rest of
We'll
the
have
hour.
to do a special show for you then.
So it's really hard to
That's
explain
very
in a
good.
nutshell.
Right.
Excellent.
Okay, so let's go into our first topic of discussion. Again, it's all about controlling or coercive behaviour. Now, everyone has heard of domestic abuse, but not many people know much about controlling or coercive behaviour. Now, when the media brought to our attention that Ryan Giggs has been charged with coercive control and assaulting his ex-girlfriend, with a further charge of assault by beating relating to a second woman. Now, the second woman here is referred to as being his friend as well. Now, the CPS made a decision to charge Mr. Giggs after reviewing a file of evidence from Greater Manchester Police. Now, he faces an additional charge of controlling behaviour between 2017 and 2020. Now, following his arrest, Giggs issued a statement in which he denied all allegations of assault made against him. Now, in a statement, Giggs said, and I quote, "I have full respect for the due process of the law and understand the seriousness of the allegations. I will plead not guilty in court and look forward to clearing my name." End of quote. Now, listeners, if you would like to take part in this discussion, please feel free to ring in on 01902 972 150 or text 07 440 420 432. Now, on Facebook, you will see the numbers streaming across the screen. Again, we will be repeating the numbers very shortly as well. So, to my listeners and to my lovely panel here, this is probably the first time the majority of people, including myself, have heard of controlling or coercive behaviour. Now, I particularly want to highlight this subject to the community who might find themselves in a similar situation, who at first can't relate or realise it is happening to them. So, Zainab, can I start with you? So, what is controlling or coercive behaviour?
Okay. Controlling and coercive behavior is within a relationship. It's about controlling the other person by using violence or intimidation to get your own way, or making threats. Okay?
Right, okay.
I'm going to give you some signs of what a controlling and coercive behavior can be within a relationship. And one of the signs are monitoring the activities an individual undertakes within their family. For example, stopping them to, you know, meeting up with their family, or, you know, going to outings, or you know, things like that, and also outings with friends.
Okay.
Another example is constantly checking up or following the other person around, checking their phone, making sure, you know, the people they're talking to, you know, they want to basically hear the conversation back, so they know exactly what's been going on.
Right, okay.
Questioning the behaviour, setting time limits, saying like curfews, for example, saying, you know, you need to be back at 5 o'clock. If you're not back by 5 o'clock, they threaten them that, you know,
There'll be
consequences,
yes,
yeah.
consequences. Isolating them from their family and friends, so they're not allowed to go to certain gatherings. They're not allowed to spend time
With the family, and
also like constantly criticizing them, saying you're not allowed to wear that, you're not allowed to do this, and even like putting them down, through like intimidation, saying, "Oh, you look fat in that," or it's like constantly, at the back of their head, they've got this person saying, I'm giving them difficult expectations to meet, saying they need to be dressed in a certain way, they need to look in a certain way, they need to sit in a certain way.
Okay.
The house needs to be immaculate. The tea needs to be on the table by 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, or the kids need to be fed. If things have happened in the house, and there's consequences, and the consequences normally are physical violence or intimidation, and not even taking their opinions on board, making them feel stupid. So if they've got opinions, say that, you know what, you're not capable and you don't have a brain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And also accusing them of cheating on them. So if they are talking to a male, or they've gone to a shop or something, and they spent longer time to speak to a male worker there, for example, they say, why were you doing that? Are you having an affair? Are you having an affair with your boss, and so on? And also resorting to ultimatums. Say, if you don't do this, this is going to happen. And there's going to be consequences.
Punishment and consequences.
Yeah, and they do punish them, and there's like blaming and blackmail. And on top of that, to make themselves look okay in front of the family and friends and society, they rationalize their behavior, so it's emotional as well. So what they're doing is saying, I only do this because I love you, or I care about you, or I don't want other people to pry in our privacy.
It's all psychological, isn't
Yeah,
it?
so it's
Yeah.
I mean, there's different types
So
of
it's
abuse.
their way of dressing it up, isn't it, really?
It is. And with coercive behaviour, it's always been part of the Domestic Violence Act 2003, but it hasn't actually been used until 2015, where it was seen as an offence. And 2015, Section 76. What they've done is they've used coercion as the CPS said that it is an offence. So they've officially stated that it's an offence, and you could get a maximum of 5 years imprisonment for it.
Okay.
So that's why you hear more about it now than you did
many years
ago. Even though it was there, it wasn't really picked up.
Okay, so just to make it clear then, controlling or coercive behaviour is any incident or pattern of incidents of controlling, coercive or threatening behaviour, violence or abuse between those aged 16 or over who are or have been intimate partners or family members,
Yes.
Okay, so it's regardless of gender or sexuality. Now, this can also encompass, but is not limited to, the following types of abuse. So it's psychological, which you've touched upon, physical, sexual, financial, and emotional as well, Now, just for the sake of our listeners, the government's definition also outlines the following. Coercive behaviour is an act or a pattern of acts of assault, threats, humiliation, and intimidation or other abuse that is used to harm, punish or frighten their victim, which obviously Zainab has touched upon. And also, controlling behaviour is a range of acts designed to make a person subordinate dependent by isolating them from sources of support, exploiting their resources and capacities for personal gain, depriving them of the means needed for independence, resistance and escape, and regulating their everyday behaviour, which you have touched on spotless here. So Zainab, controlling or coercive behaviour, it falls under the definition of domestic abuse, which you have mentioned. So for those of our listeners who don't know what domestic abuse is, can you tell us?
Okay, domestic abuse is using different forms of violence, again, to control the individual. And again, it can be a physical abuse where they're physically assaulting the victim. It can be emotional. For example, like I touched upon earlier, saying that, telling the person that they're stupid, or, they're incapable of doing something, or, living a certain way, or undertaking an activity. So it can be emotional. It can also be financial, which many people didn't think of in the past, thinking, how can you have financial abuse? But it's like giving them like pocket money and giving them a limited budget, which is probably very difficult to manage, and expecting more things on the budget than they've got the money to have.
I'll tell you what, this actually reminds me of the Coronation Street programme.
Yes.
Where, I forgot her name now. She was obviously sort of controlled by, I can't remember the
It's
name of the
Yasmin,
yes. She was in that position where she was just given £5 to go out and get something to eat and bring it back and stuff like that. And then her partner obviously threw all the food on the floor, and it just sort of escalated from there. Yeah. Quite a good storyline, but sorry to interrupt, but it just reminded me of that.
No, that's fine.
Just out of interest, do kids fall under this umbrella? Your own kids, yeah.
They do, and we will touch upon that a little bit later, where they could, where you could get help, and what other aspects of, where you could get help from. But in terms of children, they are definitely fall under the umbrella of domestic abuse, because even though they're not in the room or they're upstairs, they still hear it, and they have psychological, trauma, which
I mean controlling. You are controlling their behavior or what they are doing. Like there is a hairline between bringing up and controlling. If like telling them what to do in a good way.
And domestic abuse on the child, I think they're saying.
I think
not physical, I mean just controlling or telling them what they are supposed to do, or just bringing up in a good way or something like that.
I think what it is, it depends. Everything has to have a balance. If it's threatening behavior and you're intimidating the child, where they're really frightened of you, and so I mean it has to have a fine balance. I mean, as a parent, obviously we all want to bring up our children the best way, and you need to be very careful of how you're doing the bringing up, in terms of what kind of wording you're using. I mean, some children are scarred because they've been put down all their life as you're no good, you're not good at anything, and they grow up and they take that label on, and they're not capable of doing something. So it's really important how you manage that in terms of your discipline. So it has to have a balance. If it means that you're hurting your children physically and they've got marks and
that's physical abuse.
And psychological as well, if you're constantly putting them down, so that is a form of abuse. So children do come under the umbrella of domestic abuse, and so you need to be really careful of what you say.
I know that's obviously that's something we knew for a long time, but I'm so glad I'm here today. I couldn't even pronounce that word before this.
Coercive, I never heard of it.
I think it's all there.
I mean, the controlling, what worries me is the subtleness nature of it. So before the physical abuse, and I mean, we all know about physical, psychological abuse, harassment. These things we deal with in our daily lives, but we never heard about control. It's very subtle. It's not easy to prove.
I mean, up until recently, it was very difficult to even prove in court. And that's why that act came out in 2015, to make sure that we pick up on that, because there were perpetrators who were getting away with things like that. And unless it was physical or something that the police could see, it wasn't even taken into account, as
and the vulnerable side will always be scared to document or
and it was difficult to prove it in court.
Right. Okay. So controlling or coercive behaviour then. Again, it captures a diverse range of behaviours which previously were not considered. That's what Zainab's saying, and it is criminal. However, in September 2021, the government published guidance which assists prosecutors to better understand the nature and features of these behaviours. Now, most victims of this type of abuse might think that this behaviour is part of a normal relationship or a family relationship or family dynamics. However, these behaviours are classified as abuse, and they are a criminal offence. Now, from our researcher who carried out the research for me, we've realised that it is only when victims are told that these behaviours constitute abuse and fall under controlling and coercive behaviour do they realise that actually there is hope for them, and also it is not behaviour they should tolerate. Now, I believe the first step should be the identification of the behaviours, just as you would diagnose a disease by reviewing symptoms. Now, this type of abuse materialises over a period of time, so you wouldn't necessarily see that it is controlling in any way. It will start with small things, and then collectively over time you will find yourself isolated from friends, family and controlled. Now, the second step is when knowing and understanding that this behaviour is not acceptable and it is in fact a crime. Now, the third step is to help, and we will touch upon this later as well. So Zainab, can you talk me through the signs the behaviors to look out for. And tell me, how common is this?
Okay, can I give you some statistics?
Yes, please.
Okay, first of all, the national stats that were undertaken in 2018, it showed that there's 4.2% of men and 7.9% of women experienced or suffered domestic abuse in their lifetime. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 6 men will be affected. Will be affected by domestic abuse during their lives. And
Okay.
I'll carry on
After the break. Yes. Okay, we will see you straight after the break. Okay, welcome back to Loose Sisters, and we are talking about coercive controlling behaviour. And just before the break, Zainab, you was going to touch on some stats for us, weren't you? And you're going to talk through about the signs and the behaviours that we need to look for, and also you was going to tell us how common this is as well.
Right. Okay. Before the break, we were saying that the national statistics. I can't get my words out. 2018 showed that 4.2% men and 7.9% women experienced or suffered domestic abuse. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 6 men will be affected by domestic abuse during their lifetime.
Okay.
Okay. On average, 2 women are murdered
Wow.
every week, and 30 men are murdered every year due to domestic abuse.
2
Okay.
women every week and 30 men every
year.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And it's really important to highlight, we were discussing in the break, that it takes up to 35 incidents before the victim will report the matter to the police.
Okay.
So it's really important that, with the police and probation, we try and get them in that call that they make, because we know that it's probably taken them a long time to pick up the phone and
Yeah.
actually...
Because they've probably been told that I'll change and I won't do it again. Like you mentioned.
Yeah, that's some of the behaviours.
And that's why it's probably taken
It's
them 35
probably,
times.
yeah. So, these 35 incidents that it takes some time to report it. How long over the period is that?
I mean, it depends on the individual. It could be a lifetime. It could be over 20 years. It could be
Okay.
over a year or 6 months. I think some individuals, because they're being groomed into believing, because the perpetrators groom the individual to behave in a certain way.
That's
they
how
think
it should be.
They think it's normal. They think it's normal behavior. So they think it's okay. I know we were talking about hearts and flowers.
Yes.
And basically the domestic abuse goes round in a circle. So the perpetrator will, at times, once they've abused the victim, whether it's sexually or physically or emotionally, they'll feel sorry for them or feel sorry for themselves.
Okay.
And what they will do is, when we say hearts and flowers, they'll be nice to them for a couple of days. Take them out to dinner,
Yeah.
buy them flowers, treat them really nicely. And so the victim forgets and say, you know what, this person really loves me. They love me. So they will
Yeah.
take care. So then it happens again.
It's playing
And then
mind
it keeps
games, isn't it?
repeating.
Very
Yeah.
clever, yeah. Have you got any, sorry Alvina again, any idea about the reasons? Have you got any statistics for the reasons for the delay reporting it?
Again, it's the perpetrator grooming the victim, and they feel that they could change. Sometimes they're frightened or intimidated,
Okay.
or do not know what to do or who to speak to or who to go to. And sometimes it's shame. They feel ashamed because they think, I'm going to let my family down. I'm going to let my friends down. Sometimes, it's like, in terms of, Asians.
If you don't mind me asking, I was going to say that shame has got some relation to communities, isn't it? Or
Yes,
religion or
cultural
something?
differences.
Cultural
Yes.
yeah.
So certain communities won't report it, but that does not mean that domestic violence only happens in Asian or black
No.
communities.
No.
It happens across the board.
Across the
Yeah.
board, yeah.
And even sometimes the reason the women don't report because there's a language barrier,
Yeah.
or they don't know where to go, or they don't realize that they could go to the doctor. They could,
Yeah.
even pop to the chemist, and they'll see posters
Awareness
everywhere.
program,
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I've got a sort of a 3-part question now for you. So, what should someone who realizes they are being subjected to this behavior do? And what support do they have? And also, are there any organizations that can help them?
Okay, and the first thing they need to do is tell family, friends. If they're in imminent danger, I would say contact the police straight away. But if they're not, and they're able to speak to their family and friends, it's about reaching out and communicating to people who love you, those around you.
Yeah.
If you can't do that, go to your GP, go to a health visitor, for example, whoever you can, who's available, go to that
Social
person.
care.
Yeah, any social care representative, you can go to them. There are a lot of organizations out there to help, and one of them is the Haven.
Okay.
And the Women's Refuge, Women's Aid. There's a lot of domestic violence organizations that are willing to help, and all you need to do is, if you've got access to the internet, you need to just search as well and look at what's available to you in your local area.
Okay.
So what was the other part of the question?
Are there any organisations that can help them? So I
Yeah.
think you talked about the Haven, and you talked about the support that's available
Yeah.
as well. For me, I know you said the GP is the first point of contact. Now, obviously, the GP, I know Dr. Rama's here. I mean, obviously, the doctors, they know the whole family members and stuff like that. But for me, there might be a doctor not believing maybe the wife and siding with the husband. How do you get that balance right? And how do you know the doctor will actually support you?
Right. Okay. I mean, as part of their integrity, they have to support you anyway. But if you feel that you can't go to a family doctor because there's other members of the family going to the same doctor, what I would do is, I mean, the police, they've got a special domestic violence unit as well,
Okay,
dedicated to helping individuals. So contact the police if you've got nobody else to contact, and say, get somebody to come out to speak with you. And there's, in terms of the women's aid or the Women's Refuge, there's individual domestic violence advisors available. So they've got key workers that you can access. So, you could try and go down that route, try and access help through those agencies.
I mean, I just think it's brilliant that these things are in place.
They are.
Especially for people who haven't got a language barrier and things like that. But I just worry for... not generalising the Asian community, but, say someone's coming from abroad and they can't speak. And they don't even know that they're going through this. And, I think that's important. That
Definitely.
They have the support.
It's definitely brilliant, but it is equally disappointing that the awareness is definitely lacking, especially for the
maybe that's where our communities and our...
People just don't know that. They don't know.
But having said that, there are leaflets, in terms
other
of
languages.
yes,
Also,
there's a lot of leaflets out and about. When you go to health centres, when you go to public places, I mean, there is a lot of awareness which the police and probation and even the domestic violence agencies are trying to put out there. So there is always help available. So I mean, even if you're watching YouTube channels, there's adverts on there, telling you about where to go.
what kind of institutions do this? Or are they organized awareness campaigns? Or
I mean, government do a lot of
Mm.
campaigns as well, try to increase awareness. And I think some local mosques and even
That's
like
important.
places of worship
That's
can
important.
do something like that as well. I mean,
Okay.
if they're not doing it already.
I don't think many are doing it, but it's something that we can obviously take on board. Also, I know, Doctor, you talked about children as well. Now, if children are also involved as well, what safeguarding measures are put in place? And also, if you can tell us what safeguarding is available to adults as well.
Okay, with Wolverhampton Social Services, there's adult safeguarding and there's also children's safeguarding departments. And what would happen if there was an incident and the police went to the address and there's children there, what they would do is they would refer the children to social services. So when that would happen, there'll be like a child in need meeting, and where if the person was convicted, then there would be probation involved in that. There'd be police involved with that. There'll be health visitors. Social care would be involved. The school would be involved. So there's a lot of agency who would be talking to each other and putting a safeguarding plan together.
Okay, I'm just going to go straight into some really interesting text messages that have come through. I've got one from Anonymous, which is saying, good informative show, mashallah. And I got one here saying, great topic. This is a fantastic discussion, Alvina, and a great panel, may I add. Very interesting and certainly informative. Well done for raising awareness on this subject. And they go on to say, a suggestion. Perhaps as a follow-up on this, from the discussion, you could ask for an imam's perspective in regards to what Islam says about this behaviour and oppression, which is essentially what this is. They go on to say that I think it would be great for imams and leaders of the community to stand in unity against all forms of abuse, including controlling and coercive behaviour, and state they will have a zero tolerance approach.
Brilliant. That is brilliant.
Yeah.
And I think, like I mentioned in the break, like our Prophet, peace be upon him, treated his wives amazing, didn't he?
Yes.
And I think where this has gone wrong is sort of where the cultural aspect has come. That you got your wife, she's now the
it's
slave to the
portrayed
family, and you know
exactly
things like
the
that.
opposite to the principles
Yes.
of Islam.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because Islam can help in the awareness, positive in a positive attitude,
Yeah.
and we have to understand the principles ourselves in the first place before we try to apply it to the community, because Islam has given women a lot of rights. Yeah, and
Yeah.
this is how you can get people involved from the oppressed people, that when they feel that it's not the religion, it's not the rules, it's just something being bossy or abusive, then they can come out and report it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that would help. I like the message. It's just a
That's
spot on.
brilliant.
It is spot on. I think for me as well, I mean, okay, we know quite a lot of people who are religious, they read their namaz, that they act on the principles of Islam and stuff like that. And what I find, people who are more religious and obviously following the law of Islam, they seem to be, well, to me, they seem to be the ones who are the wrongdoers, if I can say that.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, they follow the law and then they break the law when it suits them.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's certain individuals, not every single one.
Not
of them.
everyone, yeah.
Yeah,
They
certain
take
individuals.
the
Yes.
authority from the religion wrongly.
Wrongly, that's it, yes.
And we need
Yes.
to, I'll suggest if you just follow her suggestion and make a different show for this.
I will definitely get you on board.
I'm not an imam and I'm not a community leader,
Yeah.
but I think we need all of us to understand, first of all,
Definitely.
what Islam is about.
Yes, yes.
Because we can't be community leaders or imams telling people what to do and we don't know what to do. I have to be very blunt here.
Yeah.
As you said, not all of them, but some imams are working what do you call it? Not imams, but like religious leaders. I'm not talking about UK only, everywhere. Some religious leaders are taking God's role in controlling people and telling them what to do. And this is not to do with Islam or any religion.
No.
Yeah.
This is not their role. Their role is to help in raising the awareness of the oppressed, how to come out and report this to the authorities, so they can play a positive role. I'd rather them being neutral than playing a negative role and kind of promoting it rather than.
I mean, if they follow God's word,
That's
we can't
it.
go wrong.
Yeah,
Can you?
Yeah.
That's what we are saying.
In the Quran,
here.
it's clear cut.
Yeah.
You can't fault anything that's in the Quran.
You
so-
can't, that's
you
right.
can't
But
fault it.
you got people who follow the God's
They're-
word and
they-
stuff.
they
And
bring
then,
the cultural
yeah,
aspect into
yeah.
it, don't
It's all
they?
to do with interpretation. So they interpret everything according to what they want to do.
Of what they have, yeah.
And this is a minority. I'm not talking about people in person, but
Yeah.
these are
The-
phenomena in our society we need to talk about.
Yeah.
So it will be very nice to have. I'm glad to be in a band like that, and I'll be very blunt about it.
Yeah, something like women's rights in Islam.
Yeah.
You know, maybe someone can host a show in regards to that.
I
or
mean,
something
that's really good, but you
Right.
need to be aware as well. People who are non-Muslims, if they're living
course.
around you, you need to be kind of vigilant. If they are being coerced and you see, certain things happening
Of
around
course,
you in your
of
community,
course, yeah.
and there could be like a non-Muslim lady who's being, manipulated and
That's
so on.
why
But
it
you
shouldn't
see
be
that,
part
you
of
should
the-
report
Yeah.
it.
You should report it,
Of
that's
course.
right.
I think
Of
going
course.
back to Ryan Giggs, you think, wow, a professional footballer.
Yeah.
His image over the years, like playing for Manchester United, etc. I never would have thought
I will
he
still
was a
be
woman
very
beater.
careful.
Never.
I will still be very careful about judging him before we know what's going
No,
on.
no,
So
but-
I'm the only man here, and I'm not defending him by any means.
Well, to be fair, where Ryan Giggs is concerned, it's been going on since 2017, and the evidence.
I have no background.
I think for
but I
me,
don't like talking about things on proceedings. You know.
yeah, I think for me, it's evidence. How can you evidence that someone is going through coercive behaviour? I don't know whether Zainab can answer this, because obviously what you do is the police won't act until they get evidence.
Yeah.
So something like coercive behaviour and controlling behaviour, how can you evidence that? I know you talked about monitoring, but what does monitoring initially entail? What?
I think with monitoring, what they have is, in terms of the address, they'll put a SIG marker on there. That means, that if they're getting a lot of calls from that address. So they'll put a sign on that address saying that, you know, when you get a call from this address, you need to get there straight away.
Right.
And in terms of collecting evidence, they'll take visual photographs, for example, of, you know, if there's been any physical marks.
Okay.
They'll take they'll make their own assessment as well.
Okay.
So how they found the victim and what state they were in.
What about
So
witnesses?
and
if there are
witnesses,
things,
witnesses around in terms of how the place was, if it's been messed up or things are broken, they'll take pictures of those things.
Okay.
They'll take pictures of, you know, any damage that's happened to the property. So they'll collect all this information. They'll talk to witnesses if there were any, and then that's how they kind of bring a conviction together.
Okay.
And also in terms of protecting the victim, the victim can apply for a non-molestation order.
Okay.
A non-molestation order means they could go to court, and if the relationship's broken down and they've asked the perpetrator to leave, is to say that they're not allowed to contact the victim in any shape or form within a certain period if there's not a conviction.
Right.
If there is a conviction, then it's a restraining order that would be in place, and the restraining order will stipulate what they can do and what they can't do, how much contact they
and
can
how
have.
can that be enforced?
That-
How
that's-
can the victim be protected?
Okay, that is better than a non-molestation order, because the perpetrator's got a conviction. Either they're going to be on a community order, which I would supervise if I was doing it, or they'd go to prison, and then they would be released on license.
All right.
And what would happen? We'd have the victim unit involved. We'd have certain license conditions. We'd have surveillance. So we have curfew.
Yeah.
And if they breach that order, which they normally do. So if they breached a couple of times, what would happen eventually they could go to prison for 5 years.
Oh my God!
Right.
Is that new?
No, that's not new.
That's part of the
Yeah,
child abuse, physical abuse regulations. Yeah.
Not just that; it's part of the Domestic Violence
Domestic violence.
Act 2003. Yes.
Right. So Zainab, so what are the barriers then that actually prevent victims from coming forward then?
Yeah, like we touched earlier, the barriers are, it could be a language barrier, it could be cultural issues, it could be the individual, you know, trying to make things work and not understanding that they're being coerced or they are suffering from domestic abuse. It could be a learnt behavior. So, I mean, they could be coming from a family where domestic abuse is prevalent. For example, I don't know, their father did the same thing, their grandfather did the same thing, their cousins are doing the same thing. So it's normal behavior. So they don't even understand.
They think it's normal.
Yeah, they don't even understand that they're experiencing this form of abuse. So I mean, there are many barriers. So in terms of again, educating individuals and raising awareness. That's what will help them come forward.
And probably kids being involved as well.
Not just that, and they're scared of social services. They think the kids are going to be taken away. They won't be able to cope. And one of the things a perpetrator will do is make the victim dependent on them. So if they feel that, you know, if I report it and he goes, who's going to pay the bills? How am I going to cope? How am I going to look after the children? What's going to happen? So it's all that anxiety and worry of being alone. So which impacts on their decision to report the matter, really.
Right.
Another thing I wanted to just touch upon is, I know we were talking about domestic abuse in terms of young people and middle-aged.
Yeah.
But an interesting fact that I came across is domestic abuse affects different ages in terms of the age. UK published a report in 2018 again, saying that about 200,000 people reported some form of violence between the age of 60 to 74
Wow.
in 1 year.
Okay,
So-
it's an interesting fact.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so you would think it just happens with young couples, but it can happen at, you know, any age.
All ages.
Yeah. And you could have a victim who's 60, 70 years old, and then that's when they decide to report it, because all their
That's
life
what
they
I was going to
experienced
say.
it.
If a 60-year-old lady is reporting, that means she might have been abused for the last 20, 30 years.
Yeah, she could be. I mean,
Okay.
so it's really interesting.
It is, isn't it? So what do perpetrators of this abuse or crime face when they are found guilty?
Okay, they could be sentenced to imprisonment for up to 5 years. They could receive a community order, or they could be put on programs.
Okay.
So we've got different forms of programs to deal with domestic abuse, to, you know, educate perpetrators and to make them desist from future committing the same offences in the future. So what we have is we got a program called Building Better Relationships program.
Okay.
And that looks at different types of abuse, what their behavior was, what they need to do, what they could have done differently. It also touches upon cognitive behavioral therapy. So it's kind of going through the offense again. Yeah, and finding different ways of dealing with situations so they don't get into the same they're not given the same conviction again. There's also programs like structured intervention to address domestic abuse, and those sessions focus on jealousy, you know, coercion. Focuses on.
Do they work, these programs, for some people?
For some people they do, but you have to remember perpetrators are very manipulative. It will only work if they want it to work. So if they
what about reoffenders? When you think they have got it, you send them out. Reoffenders are always a problem, not only in like physical abuse, but a lot of the times you think you do programs like this make people kind of go back to the community, they're safe. And I think then they reoffend. So what do they do for the reoffenders?
If they're gonna if they're on a community order and they've been given also a restraining order with it, there's safeguarding in place for the victim, because we have a partner link worker who works with the victim. We've got the victims unit. We also have meetings with the local organizations. So there's a meeting called MARAC, which is Multi-Agency Risk Assessment Conference. And in that conference, what you will have the police there, you'll have the social services, you'll have health visitors there, or the GP, or the mental health services. You'll have women's services there. You'll have probation, and then you'll also have an update on the perpetrator and also what the victim is doing and what safeguarding measures need to be in place. So there's a lot of organizations working together.
I think you need a lot of time to cover that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alvina, for bringing this up.
You're welcome.
We came here as guests, and now we're learning.
We're learning. Everything's about awareness. Very quickly as well, are West Midlands Police working with organisations or community groups within Wolverhampton to raise this awareness? And would they be interested in collaborating with charities like Secret Angels and work on an educational piece which could be delivered to the community about this abuse, that it is crime, raise awareness of the behaviours to look out for, not just for the victims, but for the healthcare professionals, teachers, work colleagues, friends, family, because if they are able to spot the signs, then they can also do their part by reporting anything they deem inappropriate. Now, we've got about 39 seconds for you to answer that one.
Okay, very quickly.
You are learning.
They do go into schools and do education programs. But if you wanted them to be part of Secret Angels or any organisation, we'd have to contact them directly and get somebody to come out to speak to you.
That's lovely. Right, Dr. Amar, you are going to be in the spotlight next, so we are going to go straight into the break, and we shall see you straight after.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Doctor.
Hello? I am, yes. Yeah. Okie doke. Okie doke, that's fine. No, I think we're good to go. Okie doke.
Okay, welcome back. You're tuned into Ramadan Radio Wolves, and it is Loose Sisters. So before the break, we were discussing coercive behaviour and controlling behaviour. We had a good outlook from Sister Zainab on obviously domestic abuse and obviously where people can go for help and assistance. We will be touching back with Dr. Rahmer as well to get his perspective on this. But first, I'm going to go on to our caller, Hannah, who is on the line. She obviously works for Aspiring Futures, and it is a women-led social enterprise based in Wolverhampton, and their mission is to support women and aspire them. They engage and support women from diverse communities through the development and delivery of bespoke, quality, holistic services in a safe and supportive environment. So, joining me over the phone is Hannah Williams from Aspiring Futures. She is a health and wellbeing service there, where she will be telling me a bit about their services and how they have engaged and supported women in Wolverhampton to aspire for better through the delivery of best quality, culturally sensitive services. Now, this is definitely diversity at its best, and it's got a tick from me, definitely. So, Hannah, thank you for joining us today. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and your role?
Yes, so my name's Hannah, as you know. So basically, about 3 years ago, I gave up my job due to childcare reasons.
Mm-hmm.
In the time where I wasn't working, I decided to restudy, and I went to college to do a diploma in mental health studies.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
After passing that, I came across Aspiring Teachers, an advertisement where they were looking for people to become wellbeing champions
Mm-hmm.
to support women in the local community.
Right.
And it was a really good thing at the time that I applied, because obviously not long after we then went into a pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
where women in the local community did need a lot more support. So we offer befriending service over the telephone.
Mm-hmm.
We offer one-to-one information, advice and guidance.
Yeah.
We have English classes,
Mm-hmm.
ESOL, which is every Friday. We do employability skills workshops,
Mm-hmm.
beauty, hair and nail art courses, volunteering. We also offer counselling.
Mm-hmm.
We do empowering women courses. We do self-care. And you can get information about the NHS services if you need any help to book appointments with doctors. So yeah, we do all this in our local community. I am one of 9 wellbeing champions,
Mm-hmm.
which work for Aspiring Teachers. At the moment, we do a chatty test, which is held on Zoom,
Mm-hmm.
which happens every Wednesday morning
Okay.
at 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So we invite our local women that are registered with the company to join us for a discussion every week.
Mm-hmm.
We have different topics. If they have any worries, they can speak to us, gain support. We share recipes, which is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's great to see that you offer a place for women to connect with others. You're improving on their health, their mental well-being, and
Yeah.
you're giving them life skills as well. Now,
Yeah.
I know you used to be holding various community events as well throughout the year. So due to COVID, has this in any way impacted on your role at all?
I think for myself, I became more internet friendly.
Mm-hmm.
So most of our events are held online,
Okay.
and the clients will join online.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now it's obviously great to hear about your commitment to inspiring women to have the confidence, the skills, and to follow their aspirations. Now, anyone who's interested in any of the services that you offer, who should they contact and how?
So we have a website, which is www.aspiring-futures.co.uk.
Okay.
And also, we have a Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just type in Facebook Aspiring Futures, it'll come straight up. You can like the page so you get all the up-to-date information, what we're up to.
Mm-hmm.
You can also message the Facebook page.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
if you're after any support.
That's great. So, listeners, for any information about Aspiring Futures services, classes, courses, or any activities that you might want to take part in, again, visit their website and their Facebook page. It's Aspiring-Futures. Also, Hannah, you're a community champion for the COVID-19 vaccine take-up. Can you also tell me what you do and how you engage with the residents of Wolverhampton, particularly the BAME community?
Yeah. So what we do is we work with the City of Wolverhampton Council and other organisations, and what our aim is to try and improve the take-up of the COVID vaccine. We give out the right information. I do think there is a lot of fake information that is spread, and we're just a reliable source where you can get the right information about the vaccine.
Right. Okay. Hannah, thanks for taking part in obviously letting us know a bit more about Aspiring Futures and your role. And we will obviously share this information. It is on Facebook Live at the present moment, so people will be able to trail back and get any details that they might have missed. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye. Right. Okay. So there you go. That was Hannah. Now, going back to our discussion on coercive behaviour and controlling behaviour, Dr. Amar.
Yes.
Now, I understand that you specialise in cardiac surgery. However, it would be interesting to know whether you ever dealt with patients who have been victims of domestic abuse.
Definitely we have. We have been used to domestic abuse. What's new to us now is, as you said in the introduction, in order to diagnose any illness or disease, it takes a lot of time of like what we call late, like where the disease is dormant, where you can't figure out what is going on until you diagnose the disease. And this is what we're learning today, that domestic abuse that doesn't just come out of the blues. It has been happening for a long time as milder forms of abuse. I don't know what you call them, but cohesiveness will be one of them.
Coercive behaviour, yeah.
That might be one of them. So we for people who are coming to the hospital in general, we have very good system of social care and setup, because we'd like to make sure that patients are well looked after when they leave the hospital. For heart surgery, that's even more important, because we will not discharge the patient after having heart surgery unless we make sure that there is somebody. Patients are relatively like independent in what they can do, but just in case something goes wrong, or we need to make sure, especially for the first few weeks after surgery, after discharge from the hospital, that there is somebody around who is caring, like next of kin or a first degree relative or family. And obviously that person shouldn't be an abusive. So we do have some, I mean, we have a lot of regulations in the hospital, but we use our sense in sensing that if there is anything abnormal in the relation with the family or whoever is the next of kin of the patient, and we do report that to the social care service in the hospital, who actually see all our patients regularly, just to make sure that their social circumstances are comfortable for them.
And within probation, we do have liaison with hospitals, and mental health services and so on. And if there's any issues, they do report it, and it is taken up.
So this sort of abuse, can it actually manifest into anxiety? Can the person be going through depression?
Absolutely.
And do these things actually get picked up?
Absolutely. Most of the disease, for the disease itself, stress and anxiety is a precipitating factor for heart diseases and other diseases. And for the recovery from surgery, if you always tell patients, it's all in the mind. So if they don't feel positive about it, whatever you do, they're not going to recover in the best way. You always feel that the people who feel positive, they get enough social care around them on board. They do much better regardless of what you do to them. So it's an important factor. The psychological support the patients get is as important as the physical treatment you provide to them. That's why we always work in very close collaboration with our social services and make sure that the patients have no, like, between brackets, life stresses or social circumstances.
So, as a healthcare professional, these are the things that you will look out for.
They are as important as what we do, by all means.
Right. Okay. I've got a two-part question here. So, what support can a person in your position provide if someone is a victim of domestic abuse? And is there anywhere you would signpost that patient to as well?
Yes, we do have the channels in the hospital, as we just said. That it's not part of our job, but our job is just to report it to the social care department, and they always take care of it. They are very good in what they are doing, but we don't know because it's not part of our job description.
Right. Okay. So, at what point, as a professional, would you or any healthcare person step in?
You mean for people who are already inpatient?
If you're actually sort of seeing someone in hospital,
we work as all professionals work. If teachers realize a child in school has got some marks, they do report it. So we do exactly the same.
So you do the same, okay.
So if we realize that the patient has got anything suspicious, we just report it in case there is any. We do exactly the same.
Okay. So what is the impact of chronic levels of stress over long periods of time then?
That has got double impact. It's impacting on the staff as well as on the patients, and the mental health of the staff has lately been a very important issue. So a lot of people have walked up working, like nurses, and we have seen that the stress we had during the pandemic is unprecedented in its nature, and this has affected a lot of patients equally. So I think it has just added to the problem. So it's been just like people who already have problems of abuse, and then you have the stress of work. People are all busy. They don't normally get the support they want, and in these circumstances they get less support.
Yeah, and not just that, they resort to other ways of coping. So they might start taking drugs or misusing alcohol, or just, self-harming, for example. So this, all these things play a part as well within the domestic abuse, because they'll start doing other things to alleviate stress for themselves. So those need to be kind of looked at as well by,
But to be frank, at the time of the pandemic, it has shaken up all the
services,
so nobody had the time to do anything as it should be done. But I think we can get it right after the. Hopefully we'll not get another wave coming up.
Yeah, I mean, talking about the pandemic and the services, now given that the NHS has also faced a backlog over the years, is there anything from your perspective as a doctor working for the NHS that can be done to help any of these people?
We are human beings, so we work at the professional level equally to our personal levels. So we do. I take patients as people.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So I always have like a personal relation with them. Like they're not like numbers or cases. They're people with backgrounds. And this is not something that you will learn in the medical schools. It's just common sense. I have got a lot of very emotional and sensational letters from people that the way you talk to them as human beings rather than patients, it makes a whole difference. So I don't want to start telling some stories, but for people, this gives them a lot of relief when you talk to them. So a lot of the letters I receive, that the effect they get from a sentence or a feeling was more significant to them than the treatment they receive in the hospital.
Yeah, because they want to be acknowledged, don't they?
Acknowledged as human beings. At some moment, and this is something you just have to kind of read in the eyes of the people. It's nothing that's you can. It's not like a treatment you need to give to the patient. You just have to realize that the patient is stressed, it has got some worries, and you just need to address them as a human being at the human level.
Okay. So also mental health is still considered a taboo in some cultures as well. And this is down to lack of education, awareness raising and things like that. So how do you think communities can address this as well?
I think communities have the most important role to play in the coming period. That's why I think our show or episode about our local community is very important, because at the community level there are so many. I mean, I'll give you an example, like the hesitancy, vaccine hesitancy. Okay, a lot of people they got this rights through the community leaders.
Yeah.
Because people listen to their community leaders. So when you get the message through the community leaders, it makes a difference from when you get it through the media platforms.
Yeah.
We have to be very clear about that. So the people listen to their community leaders. They have religious, cultural, whatever you call it, beliefs. And there are so many problems. It's much easier for the authorities or the government or any kind of official institutions to get it sorted through the communities. It makes life much easier for people. They understand better.
Okay.
And you just need, I think, as professionals, we are that link. We need to work as that link as efficiently as we can.
Right. Okay, let's quickly conclude on this topic. Zainab, can you just once again for us, just remind us where people who are suffering coercive behaviour or controlling behaviour, who can they contact?
Well, in the first instance, if they're in imminent danger, I would say contact the police straight away. I mean, they could talk to their family, they could talk to their friends. If they're not able to do that, then they could talk to the local agencies. For example, the Haven, Women's Refuge, Women's Aid, and there's a whole lot more on the internet which they can access. They could go to their local GP.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody who's willing to listen, and I'm sure there's a lot of advice out there and numbers out there that you could ring to get that advice. And the best thing I would say they need to do is actually make somebody aware of it.
Yeah.
Instead of keeping it to yourself, make somebody aware, and that's the first step.
Okay, that's
they can
brilliant.
act as witnesses in the future as well, when somebody knows what is going on, and they can give you advice.
Right, okay. That concludes the topic on coercive controlling behaviour. So please do not suffer in silence. There are people who are available to listen, to help and support you. Remember, #you are not alone. Right, okay, moving on to our next subject area. Again, if you want to take part, give us a ring on 01902 972 150 or drop us a text on 07440 420 432. We've got 6 minutes remaining of the show, and my next topic of question is, should you ever keep an illness a secret? Now, for me, when the death of the Apple co-founder Steve Jobs made news on October the 5th in 2011, people across the nation reacted with shock, sorrow and admiration for the technology pioneers, cutting-edge ideas and products. Now, Steve Jobs changed the world was a common theme across Twitter, Facebook and the newsstands. Now, Steve Jobs didn't reveal many details about his pancreatic cancer to the public, and he was not alone in keeping it a secret. Now, many people stay mum about cancer, dementia and other illnesses, some out of embarrassment, perhaps, but also for serious business and personal reasons. So, panel, would you ever keep an illness a secret? Let's start off with Rosina on this one.
I mean, having gone through like a big operation, as most of my family and friends know.
Right.
I felt like I had good support from my family and my friends. Everyone knows who they are. So I'm the kind of person that would maybe talk about it.
Right, okay.
But saying that, you have to respect other people who maybe are a bit private, introverts, they don't want people to know what's wrong with them. But
yeah.
I think for me as a person and my personality, I wasn't shy about talking, and in fact raising awareness of any issues that you might have similar
right.
to what I did. So I was happy to share it, but that's me.
Yeah.
I think with me, I'm a bit of an introvert, I think, and I also worry about other people. So I'd be worried about what my kids would think, or how upsetting it would be for them, or or they'd worry for me, or my family, how much it would cause them anxiety, or if they start worrying for me. So I kind of like to protect other people around me, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And it depends on the type of illness as well, whether it's like life threatening or not. Whether
I like for me, I wanted my daughter to know that you can go through the worst of the worst, and everything happens for a reason. I think being Muslim as well, like that God does everything for a reason.
Tests us in mysterious ways.
And like you said about recovering from operation, I just try to be really positive, and that's what I think has helped me through it more so.
Okay. And doctor, for you?
I will take my professional code to answer this question.
Okay.
So I'm just answering for myself. That's not an advice by any means.
Okay.
The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Mostly. For myself, I'm just talking about this is not what I should do. This is what I'm doing.
Well, now you've used count, yes.
Yeah. It's a yes or no, but it's mainly a yes. So I would say 75% of the situations for me, I'm a kind of, I will tell people I think they should know, or they will help, okay? And that will be a very small group.
So you wouldn't go to, like, for me, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't advertise it by any means.
I think it depends what it is. Like mine was very physical as well, so people are obviously going to ask me what's wrong.
What's wrong? Yes.
So if if it's something internal that it's not obvious, it's like disabilities, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I understand where you're coming from, because like when my sister was diagnosed with cancer, she openly told the family initially first, and then gradually she filtered it. Yes. And she gradually filtered it out.
One of the first people to know, because
I know,
yes.
yes. We're very close with my sister, I know. And then it got filtered to the relatives, family and friends, and then work colleagues. And the reason why she openly disclosed this was, and she shared the news, was because she wanted people to pray for her, and to give her shifa, because like we said, God tests us in many ways. She could have kept it a secret. She could have not told the family and stuff.
She's very brave.
She has been very brave.
She recovered very well.
She has, yes. Zainab, you was going to say something, weren't you?
No, I was saying that the reason I'd probably keep it a secret is probably I'd just worry about people around me. And also it depends what circumstances you're in.
Yes.
And what kind of reactions you're going to get from people around you. You might get a positive or you might get a negative reaction.
Yes,
so all those things come into play when you make a decision.
You know what to do with the negative reaction, people, then.
For me, it's also cultural. It's about showing strength.
Yeah.
You don't want to feel weak or show some people that.
Yeah, not just that. It's your personality as well. If you're always seen as a strong person,
you don't want to feel.
Yeah, and you don't want to show people that you're weak.
Which is not the right thing. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but that's what I would do. I don't know.
Rosina just got a text message in it. It says, Islam, Rosina, you've done so well and a great example to us all, mashallah. Bless you.
Alvina, sorry.
It's a number ending 550.
Right, I'll have to.
Yes, sorry, Zainab.
So can we ask you the same question? What would you do?
My family know I'm open like a book. I am. People can read me like a book, and I'm the sort of person that cannot keep anything a secret. So don't tell me anything.
That's dangerous.
Very dangerous. But anyway, panel, I really want to thank you all for being part of Lou Sisters. We've had a great discussion, a great topic areas today. That's a dear saying. Yeah. So just very quickly, Children's Award fundraiser. Just want to let you know that the article was in the Express and Star yesterday, and we raised over £5,000 for them on the Ramadan Radio Appeal. They are keeping the appeal open till the 4th of May. So if anybody wants to donate, please do. And also, can I encourage everyone who donated to contact the hospital, because for every £1 donated, they will get an extra 25 pence through gift aid. So stay blessed, everyone. We shall see you on Lou Sisters next week once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.